All right. Hello. Welcome to the first lecture. Sorry it's a little bit late. Of IGM760 AI for Gameplay course overview. Today is the first lecture. I wanted to first off and kind of bring up the fact I know some of you expected this to be a synchronous class, and that's not necessarily possible with my schedule. Previously, Professor Bayless was on campus in Rochester, and I know that perhaps some of you were looking forward to that. I come from a little bit of a different walk of life. I'm not a tenured professor. I'm an adjunct professor. I largely live in the sort of entrepreneurial software engineering, you name it, Silicon Valley world. Literally live here in the Bay Area in California. So everything from time zones to recently having a baby, many things are difficult for me. So please bear with me, although I will make an effort to find ways to infuse this course with plenty of opportunities for synchronous interaction, including the Discord server you should be able to see at the bottom of the screen here, there. And please feel free to reach out to me on there. I'm what you would call a busy person, as you'll learn more about in this first lecture. But generally speaking, don't email me, but ping me on Discord. It's going to be a lot faster for you. My email, like many folks, is just sort of this big to-do list that other people decide for me, so I'm more often trying to avoid email than looking forward to it. So if you really want to chat, please leverage Discord, direct message me, or feel free to just use the channel that I set up on the server. That's a great place to connect, and I'll go more into depth with that here. So to kick it off, what is this course all about? You all should probably know a little bit already. And also this being a sort of graduate topics type course, this is much more open-ended and really is meant to introduce you to a number of different ideas in the realm of AI, and specifically AI for gameplay or applications of AI for game development. And what does that mean? AI is quite a broad set of potential things. And so to kind of dig into it, right, we're going to be digging into AI kind of from a theoretical perspective, but also try to apply it practically. This course, it focuses on a lot of sort of traditional AI concepts such as like search and how do you represent information in the context of a system that has to make decisions. More specifically about decisions, we're going to be making decisions under uncertainty, so algorithms that sort of have to weigh the pros and cons of making a particular decision, and as well as doing so in the context of an environment, or what's called agents that are acting inside of an environment, basically making decisions that impact their surrounding environment that then they have to sort of react to. We'll talk a lot about that world. And we'll definitely kind of bring into this the concepts of machine learning, biologically inspired computing, such as evolutionary algorithms, dealing with this in the real-time case, not real-time, and in particular, right, as it should be kind of implied by the degree that you're, getting, this is going to be done in the context of games and simulation. So this first lecture, and what I'm going to probably do in this course is really split up these lectures kind of per topic. So I'm not going to go and put a timer on me and say, okay, if I'm going to give you an hour lecture every week or 2 hours every week. I'm just going to have the topics. I'm going to sort of talk as I do through the slides. And if it's 10 minutes, great. If it's 20 minutes, great. If it's 2 hours, great. Right? One of the benefits of putting this asynchronously on YouTube is you could put it on 2x speed, or fast forward me when I'm rambling, which happens a lot. So this lecture is going to be kind of the course overview, and we'll talk a little bit about the course, the format, and then that'll be it for this one. And then I'll do another lecture in a moment that will be about our first lecture of the series. And so to kind of introduce myself, my name's Idan Beck. I'm an adjunct professor for RIT IGM now for a couple of years. I'm largely described as a serial entrepreneur, which is by no means a good thing. That means I haven't really successfully started a big, large company yet, but don't trust me, I'm still trying. A few years ago, I was bit by the AI machine learning bug, and not that I wasn't kind of interested in this before. I did my master's thesis in AI formally back when I was at Cornell, which is how I became professor at RIT, through David Schwartz, who was my professor at Cornell while I was there. But a few years ago, you're starting to see a lot of these really, really compelling deep learning results coming out, and it's really hard to ignore. And I was like, wait, did I miss something fundamental in school? Did I miss the boat? And so I kind of went back to basics a bit and really tried to dig in and understand some of these new concepts, or these new ways of thinking about what software and what computers can do that honestly just 10 years ago would have been considered sci-fi. So I'm very personally excited about AI and machine learning in particular, and that's actually what I've been doing for the last year and some at Unity. I've been on the computer vision / perception team at Unity, working in things like synthetic data, applying what's called domain adaptation to synthetic data. But largely, I was sort of preparing myself for my next venture, which I'll be starting actually during the semester. So you'll get to kind of watch the bags under my eyes get darker and darker in intensity as I hopefully get a new venture off the ground. And that venture will be actually in machine learning applied to game development. So please feel free to ask me questions about that. And yeah, that's a little bit about me. Just as a kind of quick thing, like I said, I've been an entrepreneur for a long time. I've built a lot of wacky stuff like this. These are some of my previous companies. These are some of the companies that I've been involved with. Most recently, for example, I was CTO at Sandbox VR, which is still going strong. And these are the kinds of things I'm really interested in particular: generative models, unsupervised learning, and applying these sort of like general synthetic type of applications. And so happy to talk through this. I actually taught a 797 class on deep learning applied to game development. And if anyone's interested in the materials, just ask me. Some of you may have taken even that class, and I will probably be infusing my version of this course with some of those materials, in particular the third segment of that course, which was about reinforcement learning, which we'll go into quite some depth on towards the end of the semester. So here's my email, here's the info, here's everything you need. Use my email sparingly, as I mentioned. I use email as a kind of triage list, and if you don't make the cut, then you might not get a response. You're either going to get a response in like 5 minutes, or you're not going to get one for a week or two. So it's nothing personal. It's just I have only so many hours in the day, and so things have to kind of get prioritized accordingly. Now, if it's urgent, if it's something top of mind, if it's personal, like you don't want to share this on Discord, that is the forum to email me. So you're worried about some grade thing, or you have a personal scenario that you don't want to share on something like Discord. Don't with everything I just said, please feel free to use my email when it's necessary, and when it's urgent, when it's burning, that's the right time, like when it's an emergency. What's not an emergency is you can't figure something out the 5 minutes before it's due. Like, sorry, you should have, asked somebody a couple of days ago. I've been a professor now just long enough to understand that how things actually go. So don't abuse it, because if you do, you just won't get a response. Discord is the place for everything else. It's for you guys to all communicate and interact with one another. I'm a very, very open-minded when it comes to, collaboration. I really don't believe in things like late deadlines. And like, you guys are all students and pursuing a degree in this field. You're all adults now, or mostly. So take it on yourself. Like, don't cheat, don't share, don't be a jerk. It'll be obvious when you're doing those things to other people. And so, Discord responsibly and treat each other with respect. And if you don't do that, I will step in. But other than that, Discord's for everything. Also, I'll be kind of offering office hours by appointment. Really, it's funny. I provide these every semester, and very few people actually take me up on them. Those of you who have, and I know some of you are in this class that have done this, like you realize, like how deep I go on things and how open, like how much I love having office hours and exploring ideas and things like that. So really, like, it is by appointment because I have a busy schedule and I cannot just show up to an empty Zoom call like once a week and hope somebody shows up. I just don't have that flexibility. I also have like a 8-month-old baby, so you're contending with time from many sources in my life. But this is a way to get 15, 20, 30, whatever minutes on my calendar. Sometimes I'll have to reschedule you a little bit, but for the most part, I make sure that anybody who wants to meet me can do so, and this is the time. This is the way to get that. So whether it be related to this class or whatever you want to talk about, really, I love talking to students about what they're working on, what they're interested in particular in these kinds of courses. I will be doing my best to coordinate between this Notion page that I'll be building as we go through the course. The materials for this course that were given to me are kind of predictated by Professor Jessica Bayless, who designed the course, but that course that she provided me was largely meant to be an in-person course where students come in and hang out and talk, right? And so the materials were kind of designed for a much more, Socratic discussion type of thing. And so I'm going to be putting my own spin on the materials. Notion is where I'll be doing a lot of that. It's more flexible than my courses, but everything will be updated to my courses. And if you're in doubt of what's the most up-to-date due date or whatever it might be, my courses is the arbiter of truth always. I also encourage you all, like if there's something wrong, if there's a mismatch, if there's a date that's inaccurate, it doesn't make sense, like something's due on a Sunday, just call it out on the Discord. And like I said, I'm really flexible about dates. So we'll talk about that more in this. Ultimately, if you decide that you think it's your best interest to submit everything on the last day, and as long as I have a couple of days to grade it, that's fine. But honestly, like research has shown that's like a horrible decision. Like the deadlines are really, really there for your benefit. I do encourage you to do that, but do not stress. Like if you're a day late, like I don't care. The only exception to that is exams, because they have to be done in a way where after the exam, everybody's assumed to have taken the exam. And so that's a bit of a bottleneck. But apart from that, nothing else really matters. Separately, I've been maintaining this reading research list. These are kind of an ongoing list of papers that I find interesting. It's not super duper relevant to exactly what we're studying here. There's everything from like machine learning and deep learning and like sequence to sequence NLP papers to like Reaster and like fundamental, ray tracing papers. So it's kind of all over the place, but it's organized relatively well with tags and things. There's a lot of papers there, many of which I haven't read, probably like only 10% I've read. So it's a good resource if you're looking for ideas for interesting things. Just jump in there and check it out. So I encourage you all to do that. Cool. Okay, let's start. So assignments, we will have two of them, two assignments. They will be worth approximately 20% of your grade each. They will be released. I think they might already be released. I'm not sure. I might have uploaded them already. Either way, the first assignment will be analyzing an AI of your choice, like a game for the AI of your choice. It's kind of like a research project, almost like a book report on a video game, so it should be a lot of fun. And the second assignment is more of an implementation project, like you should build some AI thing that we talked about in an engine such as Unity, such as Unreal, such as whatever. Like, I don't care, build your own engine. I'll be more impressed. So whatever. This is really up to you. You can check out the assignments, and we'll eventually get there to talk about them in more depth. Each one of those assignments will be due about 20%. Will be worth about 20% of your grade. And by about, I mean exactly. There will be an exam. The exam will be given during the semester, and it will be open book and open note. So yeah, the only real difference between this and like a project is that it's going to be due on a particular date. So the exam is the only one that I really care about the date. Now it's it's in your best interest to like finish the assignments before the final project because they kind of flow into one another. But like I said, we're all adults. Drive responsibly. The final project and a respective presentation. So the project will include both like deliverables of the project so that I can, poke around with it. It'll actually be very similar to assignment 2, but, and then you'll also have to submit some kind of presentation of like 5 to 10 minutes, although that's really just a rough guideline. I don't care how long it is, but it shouldn't be less than 5 minutes. Sorry. Like if you spend 30% of your grade worth of time on something, you should probably talk about it for more than 5 minutes. This is one place we can talk about this. This is optional. We can introduce a kind of like seminar at the end of the course where we all meet and greet and talk about our projects and present them. We did that for 797 last semester, and I thought it was a lot of fun. I think a lot of the students appreciated the ability to ask live each other questions because everybody did something very, very different. And I think folks learned a lot from that. So again, feel free to speak up in the Discord if that's something that's appealing to you. And separately, and this is completely optional, and I haven't even uploaded a rubric of anything, but if you're like, what do I do? What should I work on? What would be interesting? Like, hey, Don, should I work on this project? Like, feel free to submit a proposal, or just ping me and be like, hey, I'm thinking about this idea. What do you think? This, I think, is really for you. Like, if you are not sure what you want to work on, what's interesting, what would be valid, it's like, if just another A-star implementation seems just boring, then feel free to submit a proposal. You can do that by email. You can do that on Discord. You can do that on my courses somehow, whatever. I don't care. But just extending that option if you'd like to use it. So the kind of project. Oh, okay. This slide. Some of these slides have been kind of taken from my previous class, so ignore this bottom thing, and I'll edit this out when I'll update the slides. But yeah, the real kind of goal of this class is this project semester. If you want to work on this with other students, great. If you want to work on it alone, great. Right? Like it's really kind of up to you. And if you're not sure, just message me. This bottom thing about topic presentation mid-semester, that's not going to happen. That was for my last class, and we're not going to do that unless it's something you folks are interested in doing. But yeah. Again, I mentioned this before, the project proposal, it's optional, but I do recommend it just because if you're not sure what to work on, it's a good way to get ideas, it's a good way to get feedback on ideas and so on. One exception to this, and I don't know if we have any of these students in the class this semester, but if you are doing like a PhD and this project that you're going to do or this course is related to your thesis, please do submit some. It doesn't have to be like a formal present, like a report, right? Just you got to let me know. I want to make sure that I'm aware of that. I'm a big fan. I did this actually when I was doing my master's thesis. I took a lot of classes that aligned with that, and I really kind of built towards this very kind of large thesis that was built on a number of different projects from a variety of different classes. So I'm a big fan of this approach, but I think it's very important that you communicate it if you're choosing to do that. Yeah, I already mentioned office hours before, so it's kind of a redundant slide, but yeah, please make use of them. That's on you. I'm not going to go chase people. You haven't taken office hours, right? Like, and there's no, as I'm sure noticed, there's no participation aspect of this course in terms of grading. I'm not. This is a asynchronous online course with a remote adjunct professor in California. So yeah, don't. This is up to you. This is optional. The grade scale, you should probably have memorized this by now. And yeah, so participation and late policy, there is none. Like, if you don't watch any of these lectures and you do the class, the homeworks and the thing, and yeah, like, you're going to get a lot less out of this class if you do that, but whatever, I'm sure I did plenty of that in college. So, you're all adults, you're taking this class, you're in college, like, this is not, I'm not your babysitter. At the same time, like, it's about nails, right? So, like, if you don't adhere to deadlines, you won't get much sympathy at the end of the semester when you have like all this stuff due and you didn't do it. So I do encourage you to keep up with the deadlines, because again, like, there's been research done on, they did a bunch of studies where one group of students was held accountable to a deadline, another group of students was allowed to do whatever the hell they want, and another group of students was sort of like given an in-between. It was sort of like you could like be off by a week or two. And the students that had a hard deadline they had to adhere to performed like demonstrably better, like significantly better than both other groups. So deadlines are valuable. They're even more valuable when they're self-instilled, and I encourage you all to self-instill. So with that, that's the end of the course overview. So let's go and build some singularities. I'll see you all in the next lecture, which will actually talk about AI. I'm looking forward to it. See you then.